The players got some rest on the bye week, but not us. Jeremiah Jensen, Josh Furlong from KSL.com, and look who's ready for game day.
It's time.
Can you explain this to me? What does that mean?
One draft is better than 11 Bears. I think that makes sense, right?
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Perfect sense. We've been very busy with Utah coverage as the team prepares for their top 25 matchup with Cal, thanks to 4 teams in the top 10 losing this past weekend. The Utes move up in the polls without even playing. Utes moved from 10th to 5th in the nation in the AP poll and received 7 first-place votes, more first-place votes than number 2 TCU, which had 5. It's the highest ranking for the Utes since January 8th, 2009, when they were number 2 after beating Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Utes host the Cal Bears on Saturday. Bears ranked 23rd. Utah also jumped 5 spots in the coaches poll to number 7. Now Cal is 22nd in that coaches poll, setting the stage for a battle that has the attention of ESPN.
Why did y'all wake me up this morning?
Appreciate the soccer creativity.
That's right, as you've heard by now, I know Josh has heard, game day is coming to Sac Lake City. The network is bringing their popular show to broadcast from President's Circle this weekend in advance of the Utes' huge matchup with the number 23 Cal Bears. The fun starts Friday morning at 10 as ESPN broadcasts live throughout the day. You can find more information on KSL.com. With all this attention and hype, there's always the concern that it can become a distraction. That isn't the case with this Utah team. They know what's at stake and know where to place their focus.
Everybody on this team is really focused right now, and we know that we have the opportunity to do something special.
5 weeks into the season, the team picked to finish 5th in the Pac-12 South is undefeated and ranked 5th in the country.
I don't think that being number 5 in the country really phases us in any way. I mean, it's just a number and kind of a stat for polls, but, we bring the same football every weekend and every day to practice. I think that's what's kind of setting us apart right now is the way that we practice and prepare for the game on Saturday.
Not only must the Utes handle the pressure that comes with a top 5 ranking, they also must deal with the added attention. ESPN's College Game Day show is coming to Sac Lake City.
It's great for our program, great for our university, and so we've got to be able to handle it.
Kyle Whittingham compares this team's maturity to that of the 2004 and 2008 teams. This team could also do something special. But to do so, the focus has to be on their next opponent. That focus this week is on beating Cal.
But I can tell you right now that Cal has all our attention. They're deserving of 5-0. No one's really had an answer for their offense, and we're going to have our work cut out for us.
Cal is no joke, and they're a great team, and if we don't prepare right, they're going to come in and smack us. So we're humble, and we're excited, and we're confident.
All right, let's take a closer look at Cal. They hosted Washington State on Saturday. They trailed 21-7 to the Cougars before staging a rally. Plays like this help. Washington State demonstrates what not to do on a fake punt. Stephen McClure picks up the fumble and rumbles 45 yards for the score, cutting the lead to 21-20. Former Logan High quarterback Luke Falk puts Washington State up 8 in the third. A nice ball to Gabe Marks for the score. But it was all Cal after that. Jared Goff goes to work. A great catch by Kenny Lawler. These Cal receivers are good. His second touchdown of the game. And then later in the third, Goff with a short pass to Maurice Harris, and he does all the work. Goff threw 4 touchdown passes, 33 of 45 for 390 yards. Cal moves to 5-0 after the win. That's just a sample of the great season Cal quarterback Jared Goff is having. He's been brilliant so far, leading the Bears to their best start since 2007. His numbers speak for themselves. He's completed 70% of his passes for 1,630 yards in 5 games, 15 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. Goff ranks in the top 10 of almost every quarterback stat nationally. He certainly has the respect and attention of Kyle Whittingham and the Utah defense. Putting pressure on Goff and forcing him to make mistakes will be their focus.
He is a tremendous talent, might be the first quarterback taken in the draft. There's a lot of people who believe that. He's exceptionally accurate, 70%, over 70% completion percentage. He very rarely misses a throw.
Do I think he's beatable? Yes. Do I think he can beat us? Yes. If we let him come out and do what he do and play like he's been playing, it's possible. But, we have a great defense, and, at the end of the day, I feel we could beat anybody. But he's a great quarterback.
If you just let him sit back there and have time to go through his read progression, he's going to complete the ball almost every time. That's what his capabilities are.
Okay, Josh, we just focused on Goff, but this team's very complete. Their defense, they've forced 18 takeaways this year. They're more than just one quarterback, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, their biggest knock in the past years has been their defense just allows everything. I mean, we remember last year, Washington State and Cal, what was it, like a 50 to 50-something score? I mean, it was huge. And so their defense didn't do really well. This year, they're a little more improved. You know, they're not maybe the world beaters of the Pac-12, but they've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot on that side of the ball, a lot of maturity. So I think, you know, they can hang for a little bit, but I still think Utah's defense is much better than Cal's, and they have a better opportunity there. And it really will be stopping Goff at that point. All
right, excellent matchup we have to look forward to. Now to hoops. How about that? We're talking hoops in October. Yeah, well, the new John M. Huntsman and Karen Huntsman basketball facility officially opened last Thursday, a remarkable facility that will help the men's and women's basketball programs not only compete at a high level in the Pac-12, but also nationally.
This might be about as hard a time as it's ever been for me to talk, because I honestly feel like we just won the national championship. We can cut the nets down and celebrate.
It's amazing, you know, just so many things that have been put into it, you know, little things like just little things in the locker room, little things out here on the court. It's just great. It's a great facility.
We went out and looked at some of the best, the newest, the most modern facilities in the United States of America. And then we said, let's make ours #1. Let's be the best in America.
As in a Huntsman, if we had practice about like 1:30, we knew, and the girls were out 3:30, we knew that we only have about two and a half hours. You know, now we can go 2.5, 4, 5, 6, or maybe 7. We know how much Coach K loves the number 7, you know.
And it can only help, you know, recruiting. Again, we've talked a lot about in our culture is the type of people that we are and how we carry ourselves. And part of that factor is the wear. And so here we are in a facility. It's unbelievable, you know, but it's part of the process. And I think kids, when I mean, if I were a high school kid coming in, it'd knock my socks off.
I was hearing about this new basketball facility, but it's even better than you can imagine, and I think more impactful than we ever even knew.
One of the greatest in the country, definitely one of the greatest in the Pac-12, and I'm just glad to be able to practice here and enjoy this facility. It looks so neat, and we have so much space, and we have our own hot tub and cold tub in there. It's just like overall an amazing facility.
Even as we started building this 2 years ago, and walk by it every day, from a hole in the ground to, you know, and now all of a sudden it's here. It's pretty surreal.
It does look amazing on video, Josh. You've seen it in person. What stands out to you about this facility?
I think it's the details. Kraskowiak was really instrumental in getting this facility built. He's gotten it down to the smallest T, you know, of everything. I mean, he wants everything to be perfect for these guys. He talked about wanting to make it about the history of the program. Obviously, Utah basketball has had a great history, so he wanted to do that, not just about the Hall of Fame, not just for the recruiting. He wanted to be able to have all those aspects, and it shows. Every part of that building shows. It's fantastic. As they called it, it's a cathedral to the basketball program. So
it's certainly an arms race out there in college football and basketball.
Absolutely.
What does this do for the program? How important was it to get this facility built?
Oh, well, I think it's absolutely important. I mean, going to that Hyper building was not an attractive place. I mean, the Huntsman is a great facility, and it's got a lot of history there, but the Hyper was just not somewhere that you really wanted to take recruits. And so now with their success, they've continually come back up to the top of the rankings and have that clout around them. This only adds to it. You've got the facilities that are fantastic. Recruits are going to come in. They're going to be blown away. I mean, I don't know how many other programs out there can offer what Utah can with these facilities.
And you need every edge you can get these days.
Absolutely.
Let's switch gears back to football. Let's take a trip around the Pac-12. We already showed you highlights of Cal's win over Washington State. Let's go to the Rose Bowl, where the latest stunning result in the Pac-12 took place. UCLA hosting Arizona State. Big game for ASU quarterback Mike Bercovici. Threads the needle to DJ Foster for the score. The Sun Devils up 29-10 on the road. Well, UCLA would rally. Josh Rosen bounces back from a rough start. A 17-yard touchdown to Thomas Duarte. The Bruins are within 6, but they ran out of time. And Arizona State puts this game away with an impressive run. Kalen Ballage carries UCLA defenders all the way into the end zone. That is a symbolic way to end this one. Another road team pulls off a shocker in Pac-12 play. Stanford's bounced back nicely after that loss to Northwestern, 5-1. They crushed Arizona. Christian McCaffrey's been huge for the Cardinal. He gives them a 13-0 lead. Kevin Hogan Still playing injured. He finds Raymond Wright, who uses his blockers to score from 16 yards out. It was 27-3 in the first half. Stanford dominates the Wildcats. Arizona now 0-2 in Pac-12 play. The defending South champs have a long way to go to get back in the race. So another week of action, Josh. What stood out to you about this week? Obviously, that Arizona State-UCLA game was a stunner.
Well, I think that Arizona State game was fantastic. I mean, we've been talking about them as being kind of the lower part of that South Division now, which is kind of funny considering that they were in the top. And then they come out there and just really laid it to UCLA, who was expected to be near that top. So I think it's interesting there, but I think the team that people are starting to talk about more is Stanford. You know, Northwestern is looking like a better team than what people thought in that first week, and Stanford's taking care of business. Many think that Utah's going to fall and Stanford's going to replace them and be the dominant team in this conference, and I don't think it's necessarily out of the realm of possibilities. I think Stanford has what it takes. They're very physical, very much so like Utah, and can just get it done that way on that side of the ball.
How about this? 5 weeks into the season, Josh, the team that was picked to finish 5th in the Pac-12 South is all alone in first place in the Pac-12 South. That is Utah, of course. Josh, thanks very much. Britton Covey's having a remarkable season as a freshman. It gave us some inspiration for this week's Legends segment. Let's take a look back at some of the best seasons by Utah freshmen. Let's start with Eddie Johnson in 1984. He rushed for 1,021 yards and 7 touchdowns, both freshman records at Utah. He rushed for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns that season in a game against UTEP, 228 yards in a game against Colorado State. He would go on to become the all-time leading rusher in Utah history. He still holds that record to this day. Luther Ellis had an impact as a freshman in 1991. He had 3 sacks, 24 tackles, and a pass breakup. He'd go on to, of course, become an All-American as a senior in 1994 and enjoy a decade-long career in the NFL. Kevin Dyson had an impact as a freshman in 1994 for a Utah team that finished ranked 8th in the country. 24 catches, 339 yards, including a 56-yard reception. One of his 2 touchdowns that season was this game winner in the Freedom Bowl. He went on to have an NFL career as well. Eric Weddle was named a first-team freshman All-American by the Football Writers of America in 2003. Started 9 games at cornerback, forced 4 fumbles, led the Utes in interceptions with 3, and his 4 sacks, ranked second on a 10-2 Utah team. He also had 60 tackles, 4.5 for a loss. Brian Blecken made 4 freshman All-America teams in 2010 and was named Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week 3 times as a freshman. His interception against Pitt in the season opener helped set up the game-winning field goal in overtime. He had 4 interceptions and 67 tackles that season. Eric Rowe also earned several freshman All-American citations in 2011. He started all 13 games as a freshman, and he had 69 tackles, 2.5 for a loss, a sack, a fumble recovery, and 9 pass breakups. And he's now with the Eagles. Rookie tackle Jeremiah C.J. Potassi, now with the Tennessee Titans, growing up fast with his new team in the NFL, but he was making plays for the Utes just a few years ago as a freshman. Potassi earned honorable mention All Pac-12 honors starting the last 10 games at right tackle. He led the team with 21 knockdowns that season. Lowell Lotulelei did an outstanding job of following in the footsteps of his big older brother. In 2014, Lotulelei was named first-team freshman All-American by USA Today. He started the last 9 games for the Utes, racking up 4 sacks, 2 of which were against Marcus Mariota, of course, who went on to win the Heisman Trophy last season. If you have a Utah legend you want us to spotlight on the Crimson Corner, hit me up on Twitter at JJSportsBeat, or our producer Robert Jackson at RojackKSL, and of course Josh Furlong as well. Thanks for watching the Crimson Corner. Tell your friends. So long, everyone.